Have you ever ended up in the doghouse after saying something you definitely shouldn't have and then wondered, now what? If you're in the doghouse right now, grab your coffee, fluff the pillows, and hang a mirror because we're decorating, not despairing. If you're new here and we haven't met yet, I'm Coach Constance, your dating and relationship strategist. I help fabulous, successful women like you ditch dating drama and disasters, toss the toads, and attract and keep true love using the LoveMind Method and a whole lot of self love, sisterhood, and strategy. Today's episode of the Coffee with Coach Constance call is for when you've messed up, said the thing, did the thing, and now your partner or the person you're dating has put you in that emotional timeout corner we lovingly call the doghouse. You're not staying there defeated. No, 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 no. We're going from punishment to potency. Okay, let's go. If you're listening to the replay and you have questions, be sure to DM me on Instagram and I'll do my best to answer them. Also, stick around to the end to get your weekly challenge, which might just include buying yourself some flowers. Have you been to the doghouse? Are you in the doghouse? What to do? What to do? What to do? The number one thing that will keep you out of the doghouse, let's do that first because if we can avoid the doghouse, that'll be good. We love build, we don't fight. And with this work, that's what we learn. We learn the tools of how to love build and not fight. Arguing isn't the goal, agreements are. Fighting is just a fancy debating over who's right, who's wrong, who's good, who's bad. Nobody's going for agreements. Love building, that's what we're doing, is where the magic happens. It's about compatibility, communication, and creating win-win agreements. Even if the agreement is to lovingly disagree. I once let my ego win during, not just once, many times. I've let my ego win during a disagreement and I snap, words fly, and there's no love and no respect going on. And guess what? I ended up in the doghouse, complete with the cold shoulder, the no sweet text goodnight. But instead of sulking, I remembered this is a chance to reset. And now, if you do end up in the doghouse, don't give them more to work with. We want to be happy, even if they're not. We don't want to go around giving them a bill and giving them more to work with. It's tempting to spiral, over apologize, beg, or worse, playing the silent suffering saint. Here's your potent move. Don't give them more to work with. Stay kind, stay graceful, but also stay joyful and stay respectful to them and keep living your fabulous life. You want to remember you're the prize and it's their loss if they're putting you in the timeout corner, and you can get the lessons of the doghouse without going around and being seductive with guilt, sulk, and do those negative things I just mentioned to get what we want, which is out of the doghouse. So you don't have to shrink because someone else is saying you're in the doghouse. All right. I want to go over something that happened the other day when I was talking to a client, and they apologized for being short to their boyfriend after a stressful day. But when he iced her out, she started self-punishing, canceling plans, texting long emotional apologies. That's what you want to refrain from. She made a clean amends afterwards. And that's another thing that's important, is making amends and knowing how to go about that respectfully. And she got back to her joy. Eventually, he came around faster than would happen in the past, and she got out of the doghouse quicker. If they did something that puts them in the doghouse, we don't want to address that until our side of the street is clean. And we do that with making amends. We do that with owning our side of the street. If our side of the street isn't clean, they're just going to point to what's going on our side, what we did, blah, blah, blah. But if we go to address what they did and they say, well, you did this, we'll then be able to say, yes, and I addressed that and I made amends for that. And then you can say, so therefore, I want to talk about this. An apology is a start, but also you want to remember, rebuild with trust. Rebuild trust with aligned action. It's not just words we're going for. Trust is rebuilt through consistency. When we mess up, we make amends, not just in words, but in actions. And as you're rebuilding your trustworthy record, maintain a clean record. Let your behavior speak and do it for you instead of just words. And that goes vice versa. When somebody makes an amends to you, when someone's saying they're going to change their behavior, we don't just take the words and run from there and overgive a trustworthy record. We want to see what their behavior is. What does that say? Also, remember, no one can knock you off your serenity mountain without your permission. Whether you're in the doghouse or somebody no longer is speaking with you or somebody cuts you off in traffic even, you do not have to go off your serenity mountain. People cannot knock you off your serenity mountain without your permission. Now, time for the love seat. Time for the love seat. Press 941 to raise your hand if you have a question, a celebration, a gratitude. We love to hear from you. Also, you're welcome to text me if you're in a place that you're not comfortable speaking. And if you're watching the replay, you're most welcome to DM me on Instagram at Coach Constance. I'll do my best to answer your questions in the upcoming Tuesday call, the next call we do. We're here weekly. It's your time, not mine, to get your questions answered, to have a resource so everyone can get these tools to have more love in their life. I see a hand up. I'm going to go to that hand. Hi there.
Hi, how are you?
Excellent.
Good. So here's my it's a doghouse potential. The other night, the man in my life, he's very private, and whenever anyone asks about him, he's even said, "Just say I'm fine. Like, just leave it at that."
Okay.
And somebody we mutually know said, asked like, "Hey, how's Bob?" And I said, "Oh, like, or why isn't he here?" And I kind of blurted out, "Well, he's been having health issues."
Oh,
I know. And I also realized the person who I said that to would have checked in with Bob. That's his nature. Like, "Oh, how are you
okay.
feeling?" I don't know for sure that he checked in, but I didn't hear from Bob all day yesterday. And part of me tells me he would have called me because he would have been upset. Like, I know him well enough.
Okay.
So I don't know either to tell him what happened, to almost be preempted and say he just caught me off guard and apologize. I don't know what to do.
Okay. Well, that is one option. So, one of the things you want to keep in mind if we find ourselves, quote unquote, kind of blurting out something, that is us
Yes.
being reactionary and emotional rather than rational. One thing to practice
Okay.
is pausing and thinking things through. What's the highest price tag if I say or do this or that? Now that it's already happened, okay, we look back for lessons and blessings, not to beat ourselves up. Now you see, okay, I made a mistake. I broke an agreement. And we're looking at what our
Yeah.
agreements are. And you want to look at all your options, then the price tags, and then do your best to make the best decision for yourself. One of the options, like you said, is be preemptive and have the conversation that you had broken this agreement and make an amends. Another option in this particular situation, because you haven't heard from him, is to flush out, not mind read. We don't want to read minds or between lines, but ask, hey, based on not hearing from you, I'm sensing there might be something wrong or there might be a problem. Am I wrong about that? That flushes out that behavior, which might be two different things going on or not. One thing to think about for the variable, because we don't go by rules, everything's situational, and we're talking about your situation. We want to look at the variables. One of the variables you might want to look at is, do you think he would say something if the other person revealed that you broke the agreement? Not that the other person would say you broke the agreement, but then by checking his health, he'd know you broke that agreement. Do you think he would say something?
I could be wrong, but I think so. Unless he's just really upset. You can also be kind of like go into like hibernate mode and scorn. Like, I can't believe you did that. And I might
Okay.
want to go for the based on not hearing something from you, I'm wondering if something's wrong, and then see what he says. I don't know
Okay.
what to do.
Well, that might be good to do either way if it's related to this topic or not. If you're sensing there's some
Okay.
distance and
Okay.
flushing that out for that, and then do the preemptive and say, Hey, I have something to talk about one of our agreements. Is now a bad time? And I appreciate we
Okay.
have our conversations and we can communicate really well and we make agreements. This agreement I breached when so and so came to me and asked about you, I made a mistake. We don't apologize if we didn't do it maliciously on purpose and say sorry. We address our mistakes,
Right.
which people would rather hear what we did and what we're going to do differently. So I made a
Right.
mistake and I mentioned that there might be some health problems that you're dealing with. I didn't say anything more than that. And I want to make an amends for breaking that agreement. And I'm going to think first before I answer people when they ask about you. And I'm going to keep our agreement moving forward. And what do you think about that?
Okay. I like that. And that's what I'm going to do because I just feel it's appropriate.
Mhm.
And if he does see this person, I don't want to just have it, out in the open like that. It's an unspoken agreement because he said to me before, like we had canceled dinner plans once, and he said to me, "Well, tell so and so that don't say I'm not feeling well." So even though like he's never said to me, "Never speak about me," it's kind of he's
Okay,
it's
then you wouldn't be breaking an agreement. We do our best not to go by covert agreements, which is unsaid
okay.
agreements. We're going by agreements, but you might want to address that it's one of your values and boundaries that you like to keep is to not talk about. I
Okay.
was going to mention this after is do our best not to triangulate and talk about others that aren't in the room. So maybe addressing that and saying, I, but for myself, I do my best not to talk about others if they're not in the room. And I slipped up and I actually did that.
Okay.
One of the benefits of doing the preemptive, if you actually run into this person together and that person says something, then it could be
Yeah.
in the moment a very awkward situation.
Right. And then also, I think he knows because I sent like a nice good night text message, and his response was "talk tomorrow," which was pretty,
Okay.
you know,
Was that last night?
yeah.
Okay.
Like I sent like, "Oh, hope you had a nice day. I'm gonna go to sleep soon. I'll talk tomorrow. Miss you, XO." And he said, "Talk tomorrow."
Okay.
I'm gonna follow your advice.
Okay. And when we're doing this, also what we're doing is practicing that when we go to talk to them, they're not always in trouble because a lot of times when we say, I want to talk to you, many men immediately go to, oh no, now what? I'm in trouble. We're also building a
Okay.
trustworthy record that we are respectful and we respect them. And we're
Yeah.
also building a trustworthy record that you promptly address your side of the street. Thank you for going in the
Okay.
love seat. It's great to hear people's voices and to hear the questions. It helps the whole community. We're here so you have a place to get your questions answered and to be supportive with each other and show up for love. It's not so easy in today's world to be showing up rationally and love building and choosing to build long term relationships. A lot of today's world is casual just for today and everything moves so fast and we have a pocket full of people, millions of people, so we could just trade in friends, trade in men and never have that intimacy and lasting love. Okay, I see a question came in on the text. It says, I never told you how great this was. Thank you. Oh, thank you for the recording. I missed the first 15 minutes today, so replay will be awesome. Well, thank you. I didn't did not realize it wasn't a question, it was a compliment. I appreciate that. I appreciate kind words too. My love language is words of appreciation. I appreciate that you thought the recording was great and oh, you are wonderful. Thank you. You are wonderful too. So within a day or two, I'll have the recording up on the YouTube channel and I'll text it out as well and email it out. If you get emails from me as well, you'll get it there. Oh, here comes the text coming in. Should I reach out first after the fight? Okay, that's a good question. Should you reach out first? Unless they said, I don't want to talk to you, don't reach out to me, because if you do, then it would be disrespecting what they want and breaking an agreement. You can reach out with ritual strokes. You can reach out saying, I understand there may be some animosity or there may be some hard feelings after our last conversation. I didn't want it to go unsaid. I'm available and here if you want to reach out. You want to stay in the available. You're welcome to reach out. If you want to reach out, that's them being in the masculine. You're not going anywhere. You're available and respectful. If you are in the doghouse, it's okay to reach out too because you want to promptly address your side of the street. If our side of the street is dusty or there's something wrong on our side of the street, we want to address it as quickly as possible, promptly. We want to make an amends and clean it up because everything's not in alignment and we won't know, are they not reaching out to us because they have a problem with something we said or did, or is it because they want to move on and want to be doing something else? If we did our part and we communicated everything clearly and we made that amends, all we can do is our part and pray they do theirs. That's something to keep in mind as well. And if you do reach out, don't rehash what happened unless you want to address something they did or something we did. And there's ways to go about that, how to address it. You want to lead into clarity and curiosity and kindness. And most of all, what do we say? Most of all, respectful. We want to be respectful to them. We could be kind and we could be nice. A lot of people said, I said it nicely, I said it kindly. But most of all, we want to be respectful because sometimes kind and nice can slide into seductive and seducing with guilt. We don't want to pressure them. We don't want to panic. We want to think things through before we say or do anything. So we're coming from a place of being rational and saying and doing what's also best for us. Because if we're reactionary, it can create games and we may say and do things that we don't necessarily want to say and do. I see one more hand up. Hi there.
Hi, I have an agreement with my partner that when we first see each other, we check in for 10 minutes, but he's helping me pack, and I don't want to do that agreement during the packing. Yesterday he came and he did that with me, and I was like, I don't want to do that because it's too late, blah, blah. I was kind of grumpy about it.
If you have an agreement to do a check-in and one night you don't want to do the check-in, you want to renegotiate the agreement and say, tonight I'm not up for doing the check-in.
I did it, and then I was really, really tired, and I said, I don't like doing that. And he said, but we have an agreement, and it was just kind of choppy because I was too tired.
So choppy may be coming from a place of emotional and not using respectful language and renegotiating the agreement clearly. I want to talk to you about the agreement we have about our check-in tonight. To do our check-in tonight is now a bad time. I love doing the check-in with you and I appreciate our time together. I'm feeling tired. I have my packing to do and I don't want to do the check-in. And are you willing to pass on tonight and do it tomorrow night? And then you're having a dialogue, not a monologue, and you're hearing what he thinks. And he's also getting to participate in the decision. And that will help, even though it seems a little more strenuous to do it in the beginning, it makes the smooth sailing afterwards. If we take shortcuts or don't say things because we want to save time, it can actually make the time longer down the road because now we're got a fight to handle or clean up our side of the street.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened. I just didn't want to. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Okay. Okay, great. Great question. Your weekly love challenge to keep you participating in your own love story. Look around at your relationships. Is there anything you've said and done that was a mistake or you would have wanted to done differently? And see if there's an amends to make. Then make that amends. And once you make an amends, whenever you make an amends or whenever you address your side of the street, whenever you negotiate with love, celebrate yourself. If you find yourself in the doghouse, or if you're having a rough day, or if you're not, buy yourself some flowers. Light a candle, take a walk, reclaim your sparkle. In the meantime, follow me on all socials. I'm around at Coach Constance and we can connect. I'm Coach Constance. Until next time, I'm sending you love, love, love.